7:38, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Welcome on in to Nashville's Morning News, along with John B., Ken Weaver. Dan Mandis here, welcoming on in the senior senator from the state of Tennessee, Senator Marsha Blackburn, joining us on the Newsmaker Hotline. Senator, thank you very much for joining us. Got a lot to fit in here in a reasonably short amount of time, so let's get to it. Of course, the Republicans in the House starting this impeachment inquiry. It's a long time coming. There seems to be some disagreement amongst Republicans in the House as to whether or not this is actually necessary. From your vantage point, what say you?
Well, yesterday, our Senate Republicans met with Congressman Comer and Congressman Jordan, who have been leading these efforts of investigation in the House. And what I think this is the right step, because Speaker McCarthy has said, let's move to the impeachment inquiry. That preserves the ability of the House to have subpoena power. And there are documents, emails, their phone conversations, their bank records, also individuals that are yet wanting to have their say on this issue. And it gives them the opportunity to issue those subpoenas and get that information and get an answer for the American people so that they know what the participation of the then Vice President was in the dealings of Hunter Biden, Biden Incorporated, and the Biden family.
One of the things I think that's interesting is that you have people that are out there, and you've grazed the surface of the clear, at least to me, evidence that is out there. You still have people like Corinne Jean-Pierre and many in the media who simply say in these three words, there's no evidence. And the evidence is abundant out there. So when you hear that the Biden administration is asking the media basically to call out the Republicans for these baseless allegations and so forth, within the Republican Party and within Washington, D.C., from your vantage point there, do people on the left that you engage with, do they understand there is actually evidence? Is this a talking point where they know that they're lying when they say that there is no evidence?
I think they have to know that there is evidence. And I would question they're saying there is no evidence. So look at the December 2015 occurrence with the phone call coming from Hunter Biden and Burisma. They were all in Dubai, that they were having problems with the Attorney General over in Ukraine. He was investigating Burisma. 5 days later, Biden goes to Ukraine. Biden says, you fire the prosecutor or I'm going to withhold $1 billion. And Biden is on tape at the Council on Foreign Relations talking about that. So you have that as a piece of evidence. You also have the bank records that show there were 20 shell companies and there were 9 Biden family members, including grandchildren, that got deposits into their accounts from these shell companies. And what the House investigators want to do is to be able to complete those transactions, draw those threads, so that you can see where money came in, who it came from, and who it was distributed to.
One of the things, I know that you have been engaged on this 95-county tour throughout the state of Tennessee. There's so many things, from my vantage point here on WTN, I hear from folks, got a big signal all over the state of their concerns about what they're worried about, even though we're not a border state per se these days. Every state is a border state. We all know what's going on with Bidenomics. So in your travels across the state, what are people telling you about their main concerns?
Yes, and we meet with thousands of Tennesseans and local elected officials and law enforcement, business owners. And one of the things that comes up everywhere is inflation and the impact that this is having not only on the family budget, but the budget of counties and cities. And some of our counties and cities are experiencing such tremendous growth at this point in time. And they're very concerned about what is happening with inflation because it does make it difficult to meet the needs of their people. It also, we hear a lot about what it does to the family budget with the increase in groceries and heating and cooling and gas for the car and clothes for the kids and school supplies. Dan, it is hitting them everywhere they turn. The other thing we do hear a good bit about is the open border and how that impacts law enforcement and their ability to do their job. The harm that is caused by these cartels trafficking fentanyl into our state. And as one law enforcement officer said, nearly everything they apprehend, whether it is pressed pills, marijuana, or gummy bears, it is, first of all, in pounds where it used to be in grams. And secondly, it is laced with fentanyl. And as we know, 4 tiny grains of fentanyl can kill you. So this is, these issues come up, how the gangs that have come in with these cartels, how they partnered up and how gangs are affecting crime in our cities, whether it is carjackings or smash and grabs or home robberies, things of that nature.
One of the things I know you're involved with is artificial intelligence and these hearings that have been going on in Washington, D.C. I find this headline fascinating. This is from NBC News. Tech executives warn lawmakers to keep AI under the control of the people. I know you've been involved in these hearings. Talk about what has been discussed, what you thought about these warnings about keeping AI under the control of the people, and can we actually do that?
There are things that we need to do, and our committees have worked on this. And yesterday, with Senator Schumer calling some of the tech titans to D.C., it gave other members who are not involved in these issues the opportunity to get some of that basic understanding. It should be handled by, first of all, as we have heard all across the board in all of our hearings over the last couple of years, you need to have an online consumer privacy law so that the individual has the right to keep their information off of an open source AI platform. They need to keep it off of any open source platform. And that is something I have worked on for over 10 years. We are pushing in a bipartisan way to get that online privacy bill. That has to be step one before you look at other regulation on moving forward with AI. The other thing, and a part of this discussion, is what you heard from the companies is, look, you don't need to set aside government investment in R&D on that. We're handling this just fine. But what you do need is some regulations. There need to be some export controls. You need to make certain that this technology does not fall into hands of rogue regimes. So now in Tennessee, healthcare, we do a lot of AI, same with logistics, with law enforcement. We do a good bit with our financial systems and fintech, and we're very concerned of the impact AI has on our singers, songwriters, authors, publishers, entertainers that are in Tennessee. Voice cloning is a danger. Facial recognition, when it's being used like it is by the Chinese Communist Party to go in and track the Uyghur Muslims or the Mongolians, when it is used as the Iranians are using it to track women and see what their dress is in public. Are they wearing their hijab? This is the way you want to say, no, you cannot do that. So you're going to see more discussion on this. The first step should be passing that online consumer privacy bill. The other should be reauthorizing our national quantum initiative. I have a bill, the quantum sandbox, that would allow for development in the quantum computing space. And of course, Oak Ridge National Labs is the leader we have the fastest computer in the world. They're the leader in this space, and making certain that we expand these opportunities in Tennessee is good for kids that are in school right now and good for jobs, growth, and development.
And we will leave it there. Senator Marsha Blackburn, thank you very much for joining us here on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.